Hi, I'm Roxy. I've recently had the pleasure of painting a bunch of snow scenes for a book cover commission, where the book was a sci-fi fantasy Christmas anthology, and each story needed to be represented on the cover. Anyway, during the course of painting these, I developed some brushes and paint palettes, and I thought I'd give these away for Christmas to you, my viewers. You can find the link to download them from either Gumroad or Cubebrush. And if you're seeing this before the new year, then it's free. You just need to add a 0 in the price field or another number if you're feeling generous. And if you're watching this after the new year, then keep watching. There's still another way you can get it for free. So in the download, you'll find a zip file for a palette in PSD format and a zip file for the brushes in different formats. I originally made these brushes in Paintstorm Studio, but being a relatively lesser known program, I thought it would be helpful to also recreate them for use in more popular programs like Rebelle, Clip Studio Paint, Corel Painter, Photoshop, Procreate, and Krita. We'll look at each brush in a minute, but first let's open the palette file. When I'm planning a painting, I often start by testing colors, by visually mixing them like you'd do with a traditional painting. And I find that painting spheres just gives me a bit of direction rather than just painting abstract marks. It ensures that I have a full range of values, and if I don't achieve that with the main sphere and the background, then I'll just add a second sphere to it. So some of these you'll see have this little darker sphere. That's just to make sure that we have a full range of values. So you'll see that there are 15 different palettes, and each one is on its own layer. That's so that you can easily just pull one into your canvas as a separate layer that you can show and hide, and it's almost like you're pulling out a real palette every now and then to dip your brush into. By the way, if you're a newbie and you don't know how to color pick, just hold down the Alt key and your cursor becomes the color picker, and then you can just grab any color you see here and load it onto your brush. So at first you might think that these are a bit colorful for snow scenes, but painting snow just as different shades of white is boring and also not necessarily accurate. Snow often reflects the sky. So if you have a pink sunset, the snow might have a pinkish tinge. Or if the sky is bright blue, then the snow might have a bluish cast. And often the light and shadow colors of snow scenes have completely different color temperatures. The snow might have a warmish glow where the sun is hitting it, but it might be blue or even purple in the shadows. So some of these palettes are vintage looking, some are fantastical, some realistic. Hopefully you find these helpful as a starter. You can always deviate from them, of course. So this is a painting I'm still working on. I was hoping to have it finished already, but my productivity has inexplicably taken a huge dip, coincidentally coinciding with the release of Path of Exile 2, where I'm also playing with snow. So not finished this, but for now I'll use it as a test canvas to show you the brushes. First up we have Roxy Paint Pro. This isn't specifically for painting snow, but it's just an all-round sexy brush. I use it a lot. It's got a subtle canvas texture to it, which together with its square shape lends itself to a somewhat painterly look. And it's got a natural blendiness to it, except for the Photoshop version, because Photoshop doesn't have built-in blend technology. Or maybe it does now, but certainly not my ancient version. Let me just say, quick diversion here, if you are using Photoshop for painting, there are much better programs for that. Photoshop is an excellent photo editor, but for painting, I mean, right now we're in Rebelle, which is great, but also Paintstorm Studio, which is what I used for these book illustrations, also has a much better brush engine than Photoshop. And you can get it for super cheap on HumbleBundle right now. Link in description. And even if you miss that, it goes for like $50 usually. Not per month like Photoshop, $50 in total. Rebelle's a bit more expensive, but also totally worth it. So yeah, a lot of development is going into Rebelle at the moment, and they're really listening to feedback. And I wasn't paid to say that, I just genuinely love both of these programs. Back to the brushes. So the next one is similar, except that it's roundish with a very slight taper on low pressure, which makes the ends of the stroke naturally converge slightly. So this might suit your painting style a little better than the square brush. I like both, but my preference is the square brush. Then we get into the brushes that I made specifically for snow. So the first two are Snow Square and Snow Round. Apart from the shape, they're basically the same. They both have a grainy inbuilt texture that lends itself to, well, snow. Snow Coarse, the next one is similar, but a blobbier brush tip, which you can see if you dab it, and the grain is slightly larger as well. Then we have Avalanche, which is just a wild brush, perfect for making a bit of mess, more like the type of thing you'd expect in an avalanche or a blizzard. I used this around the edge of the snowball, as you can see, like as if bits of snow are falling off as it hurtles through the sky. And lastly, we have two different falling snow brushes. This first one has actual snowflake shapes. Could be nice for making Christmas cards or Christmassy social media posts, I guess. And the second one is just blurred blobs, which looks a lot more realistic, obviously. And you can see that I use that here too. You can dab it once and then resize it and warp it to how you want it. Or you can just run your brush all over the canvas to make a random slurry of snowflakes or dust motes. This brush works really well for any of that type of thing, like particles. So as I end off, I just want to reward anyone who was unlucky enough to see this after the free promo ended, to thank you for watching the whole video. You can still get it for free from Gumroad using the discount code SNOWSTORM. So that's just to say thank you for the watch time. Last month I finally made YouTube partner, which means I'm starting to make a little bit of money after all these years of YouTube placing adverts in my videos. So deeply thankful. Thank you also to my patrons who can grab a copy of this product from their Dropbox treasure trove. Until the next one, God bless and Merry Christmas. See you in the new year.